Hi everyone, and welcome to the new moon in May. This is the May 15th, 2018 new moon in Taurus. It is exact at 4:47 a.m. Pacific time or 11:47 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Now this new moon is happening at 24 degrees of Taurus. This is when the sun and the moon are exactly conjunct each other. This is the feminine and the masculine, and they come together at this brand new starting point. We know that new moons happen once a month based on the moon's lunation cycle. And so I always visualize the new moon as when the sun and the moon connect hands in the Namaste hand sign. When you bring your palms together and they give each other some love, support, they're on the same page. And it is always the time of new beginnings, your new intentions, and what do you want to start next? And in this new moon, we have some really potent energies. I mean, this is a really big time. The middle of May is really dynamic. So let's get into it because I want to give you a heads up on what's coming so that you can be ready and also really on the same cycle of this moon. Like, I feel like this moon is actually so powerful that it has the potential to shake the earth. So I'll explain that in a minute. So the sun and the moon are here in Taurus. You'll want to look in your chart at what is happening for you at 24 degrees of Taurus, or what the house placement is. And Taurus is ruled by Venus. So we take this energy and we look to Venus for more of the story. Venus is currently in Gemini, and she is conjunct Pallas Athena, which is an asteroid that is all about the warrior feminine. She's very wise. She's very creative. She has a queen energy to her. And so let's look at how this breaks down. The energy of Taurus is very practical, independent. It is about what can be created and maintained, what can be sustained. It is a builder. It is a farmer. It is one who is concerned with practical matters, be it financial, be it in the physical world, be it with creativity and anything that we experience with our five senses. Taurus is actually associated with the five physical senses because it is the first earth sign, and it's related to our body's experience of the earth. In Taurus, we tend to really get rooted into something. We understand what matters. We figure out what has value to us and what we want to go the long haul. So for example, whatever you plant this time of year, it tends to physically bear fruit during the next earth sign, which is Virgo, which is late August and into September. So the earth signs are really about what we are creating and manifesting here in the physical world. So we take the element of our physical lives, our bodies, our money, our sense of priorities and values, what we own, the land we own, the possessions we own, and we look to Venus, who in Gemini is about talking, information, communicating, thinking. She's a reader. She's a social butterfly. She gets out into her local neighborhood, her community. She makes the rounds. She wants to know what's going on, what's happening, what are you doing this weekend? She accumulates information and then she shares it. So yes, she can be a bit of a gossip, but her intention is really to connect with people mentally. Venus in Gemini is basically giving voice to our values, giving voice to what matters to us and what we're creating here. She shares the news. And when she's conjunct Pallas Athena, she wants to do so in a way that has deeper meaning and value so that it has a sense of offering wisdom out. This is a very creative energy. So there's a lot of mental action, a lot of words, a lot of creativity at this new moon, which I associate with anyone who does teaching, writing, speaking, projects, any short-term projects, anything like that would be well supported during this new moon. This is an initiation energy of these projects, ideas, the things that you create and offer that you want to continue to share with more people. So that's really strong in this new moon, and it should be included in your intentions. Now, the other thing that we have going on here is not only do we have the sun and the moon in Taurus, we have Mercury now in Taurus. And Mercury in Taurus is in what's called mutual reception with Venus in Gemini. They're in each other's rulerships. Okay, so that means that Venus in Gemini supports Mercury. Mercury in Taurus supports Venus. So mutual reception can happen between these personal planets at certain times of the year. And when they do, it activates more flow between the functionalities of these energies. So there's the sense of money is important in Taurus, and then talking about money, finding solutions, finding the right people to help you. There's a sense here that these two are basically siblings, and they get along well when they're in mutual reception. Now, Mercury in Taurus is an observer. It goes slow. It needs time to think about things. So he could bring an idea to to Venus in Gemini, and then she has a lot to say about it. And she's the sister that gabs. And Mercury brings her back to reality in Taurus and says, well, I don't know if I can afford that, or if I have the money for that, or if I want to even do that. I don't know if that's what I want to invest in. So let me think about it. So the way that we process information slows down when Mercury is in Taurus, and it gives us time to sit with something, to assess it, and to make sure we have all the details. Now, this Mercury here is being trined by Saturn at 8 degrees of Capricorn. So Saturn gives seriousness and focus. It gives a long-term commitment. It gives the sense of this is important, this matters to me, I'm going to commit to this, I'm going to figure this out. It's great for problem solving, prioritizing, finding a new path, making commitments. It's a wonderful thing, and that's going to increase here because Mercury is only at 3 degrees of Taurus. And over the next few days after this new moon, he's going to reach 8 degrees and be exactly trine Saturn. So this new moon is really about looking at some new things you need to solve and figure out. And a few days after the new moon, you'll have a really clear solution when Mercury trines Saturn. Now, one of the biggest energies of this new moon is with Uranus. So take a look at this. Uranus is at 29 degrees of Aries and 59 minutes. It's literally the very last part of Aries before it moves into Taurus for the first time since 1942. Uranus takes 84 years to move all around the zodiac. And so this is a big deal. And it's one of the biggest deals of this lunation. So I kind of gave you all this of what's going on with the personal planets. But this is the bigger collective energy. Back in March of 2011, Uranus went into Aries. It was actually on, I believe, March 11th. The exact day that Uranus changed signs is when we had the earthquake in Japan and the Fukushima nuclear disaster, the exact day. And it's interesting because with Uranus, it's a very unpredictable energy. It's shocking. It's unexpected. It's something that is big and jolting, rebellious, revolution. And as it moves signs into Taurus for the first time in 84 years, well, something big is underway the middle of May. And it can relate to earth changes because it's moving into the first earth sign. It can relate to financial issues, financial changes such as the stock market, Wall Street, foreign currencies, international currencies, because it's moving into Taurus, which is a money sign, and banking. So this is a big deal. And it's something that we can't predict specifically, but the astrology really suggests that your heads up is that something is going to be potentially shaking the earth in a big way the middle of May. Now, the other thing that's at play here is that you see how Uranus is at 29 degrees of Aries. It's squaring Mars at 29 degrees of Capricorn. And I can hear some of you go, oh no. Yeah, because this is the sign of really big developments. Mars can be anger. It's masculine energies. It can be war, revolution, something bursting out, bursting forward, a new directive, military. It can be something really big. So we have Mars at the last degrees of Capricorn, squaring Uranus at the last degrees of Aries. And this is something groundbreaking, earth-shattering. And then we have, within hours of this new moon, like literally 3 or 4 hours after this new moon is when Uranus moves into Taurus. And then later on in the day, Mars continues the argument. Mars continues fighting because Mars goes into Aquarius and says, we're not done with this yet. We're still talking about this. And oh yeah, I'm bringing all my friends into it. Because Mars going into Aquarius, it really gets things in the community activated. It's community activists. It's marches in the streets. It's taking to the streets. So there is tension. There is a sense of things are meant to shift, and they could shift in a big way. And there could be anger or outrage and protests. And we have to maintain our own levels of consciousness around this change, and to understand that we choose what to do with our own energies, and we can choose what to do with it next. And I feel like this new moon is asking us to assess our values and what we pay attention to, the information we hear, the information we speak, our mental processes, the words we say, and to bring those into a place of higher consciousness that can benefit more people. Let's see here. I feel like we know that there are things broken in this world that need to be fixed. And it's sort of like when the dam breaks, we see what the weaknesses are. And then we also see what our new assignment is and what needs to happen and what we can do in the practical real world terms. And this is a very practical real world energy. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 planets in Earth signs, plus this is an asteroid, and then plus Uranus entering in the Earth sign. So 7, 8 planets in Earth signs. This is Vesta. And that's meant to give us a reality check about our planet and a reminder that we are a human family. And sometimes when we have big events, big circumstances, it unites us. And that can be one of the best and highest gifts On my website, I teach about consciousness. One of my websites is consciouscoolchic.com, and I talk about the 5 types of consciousness. And I talk about earth consciousness and how earth consciousness is understanding what we have valued in our everyday lives. And after earth consciousness, we get elevated to heart consciousness, which is how we're all united as a human family. From there, it's awakening consciousness, which is the spiritual growth, and then cosmic consciousness. I'll put a link here under this video so you can read up on this, because we're really elevating the earth the middle of May. And we are meant to elevate it in many ways. And so it's the physical, financial areas, but it's also a remembrance of we all are here as residents on this blue and green marble in this solar system, which is just a part of the giant galaxy and the huge Milky Way. And how are we going to tend to our Earth? And so this is about looking at what we value together and collectively, and how we each hold a piece of that mosaic, and we each hold a piece of that puzzle. Now, I am not a doom and gloom kind of person, and of course, realistically, we don't want to have anything earth-shattering or devastating to happen. But with astrology, we learn through the cycles, and we learn the themes and the archetypes of energies. And so hopefully nothing catastrophic happens and there is no earthquakes or giant earth issues. But understand too that when we have these experiences on this planet, we then have new opportunities. And I feel like that's one of the gifts of this new moon. It's looking at what are the new opportunities that we have individually and collectively. How are we going to do our part in our communities? And how are we going to use this to connect with other people in a higher consciousness, a higher level, a higher way? This is a big time. Any astrologer will tell you that. And we're just beginning the cycle of Uranus entering into Taurus. I have a radio show devoted to this energy. I talk about it more. Taurus does go retrograde back into Aries and then moves again into Taurus. So this is a bit like a appetizer or the warm-up, and then Uranus and Taurus will be much stronger in 2018. So we have big energies here. Now, the other aspect to consider is that this Uranus activity is about awakenings, earth awakenings as we move into Taurus. And that could be beneficial for a lot of issues on our planet, global warming, just farming, logging, anything to do with the Earth's territory, what the lands that we use, how we use money. This is a really big new cycle we're entering. And so it's wise for you to look at your financial matters, your financial patterns, and determine where you're ready to be set free and new ways you can make money. Your side hustle, your next thing that you want to incorporate, because there is plenty of money on this earth. There is unlimited abundance. And are you claiming you're part of it? Because there is here something like the energy of you have to decide that you're worth it. So big issues. And a new cycle, a new financial cycle begins. A new cycle around your personal abundance and how you claim it, how you work with that energy, and how it's really incorporated into your life. So I hope this video has given you some good things to think about. Please send light and love to Gaia, to the earth, to all of humanity, at this new moon. It is a beautiful time to do an earth blessing, to do any kind of grounded energy work that supports the earth and everyone who is on the planet. Even a visualization, a meditation, anything was going to be well received right now and be really supportive. I will see you in the next video when we look at the upcoming full moon at the end of May. And until then, I wish you a beautiful month. And thank you so much for commenting and connecting. Thank you for sharing and liking. We are going to spread more of the high vibes. And please know that I am grateful for you. I'll see you in the next video.